Welcome to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols. It's a party on today's show. I'll be joined by, oh look, it's 8-time All-Star Vince Carter. It's NBA champ Kendrick Perkins. Tim Hardaway Sr. is going to stop by, guys, coming up. Also, Jason Tatum is going to join us to talk about his max extension and how the Celtics are handling this short offseason. First, though, the Rockets and the league are reviewing whether James Harden violated the NBA's COVID-19 policy after online videos surfaced of him partying maskless at a club. The Rockets and league office are attempting to verify that it is indeed recent video, which would confirm that he violated protocols and would also jeopardize his status for tonight's season opener against the Thunder. Now, in response, Harden posted this to his Instagram story. One thing after another, he writes. I went to show love to my homegirl at her event, not a strip club, because she is becoming a boss and putting her people in positions of success, and now it's a problem. Every day, it's something different. No matter how many times people try to drag my name under, James writes, he says, the real always ends on top. Of course, I would personally note that the issue the NBA is investigating isn't whether he was at a strip club specifically. It's being at an indoor gathering with a crowd of people without a mask, all of which is against NBA rules. And on top of all of that, we have breaking news on The Jump. Here to give us the latest on the Rockets, our senior NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj, I want to get to Harden in a second, but you have a developing story here. Some of the other Houston Rockets who may not be available for tonight's season opener against the Thunder. What is going on?
Yeah, Rachel, the Rockets are conducting contact tracing on a few of their players, including a couple of their key players, beginning with John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and KJ Martin, their rookie forward. I was told tested positive, but they're testing him further for the coronavirus. What I was told was they were away from the facility in the last day or two, getting a haircut. And they were at an apartment of one of the players, and so it was Cousins and Wall and KJ Martin among them. There might have been another player there, but right now, because of that positive test for Martin, and the team itself announced just prior to us reporting that he had tested positive, that he was not with the team. He was self-isolating, like Ben McLemore, who we also reported tested positive a few days ago for the coronavirus. So also should note, our sourcing tells us that both Wall and Cousins have both tested negative today for the coronavirus. And so, that contact tracing, based on what else they find out with KJ Martin in terms of whether that positive test stands up, that could keep other teammates out of the lineup. The league essentially has some freedom with contact tracing with how long they would hold a player out. We saw with Mike Conley in Utah, based on proximity and to somebody who had it, they kept him away for almost a week.
Wow. Well, as if that's not enough to deal with, let's get back to James Harden, the allegations of him partying at a club. What would happen if the Rockets and the league conclude their investigation and find that Harden is indeed, as it certainly appears, and really by his own admission in that Instagram post, that he was in violation of the league's COVID protocol?
Yeah, he could face a suspension, Rachel. And, these protocols are all new to the season, and we haven't seen the league have to punish anyone yet or to execute, at least outside of the bubble. We saw what happened.
Watch how I do this.
Kevin Durant, a red-hot start.
Watch what I do next.
You guys came out here and just played extremely hard, competed, and put on a good show for the opening night.
I ain't forgot how hard it was to get to the spot. I'ma get to the top. Why?
The Clippers just running the Lakers off the floor.
Whoa, he put it down hard. George, he's getting hot now.
Work it, PG.
That's how I play. That's how I catch fire. I let the game come to me.
Opening night in the NBA is come and gone, and The Jump is coming up next here on ESPN, just moments away. Good to have Rachel Nichols with us here for a couple minutes to get us ready. Rachel, you were in the building last night when the Lakers received their championship rings, and LeBron called it a quote-unquote weird day celebrating that title without family or fans in attendance. How would you describe the scene at Staples Center?
Yeah, it was completely, totally weird. I mean, look, ring ceremonies in pro sports, they're pretty codified, right? We know what they're supposed to look like. We know what they're supposed to feel like. LeBron, this is his 4th ring, so more than anyone, he knows what it's supposed to look like and feel like, and it just didn't. I will commend the Lakers for doing the best they could with a bad situation. It was really a nice gesture to have frontline healthcare workers do a video presentation for some of the assistant coaches. They had family members do video presentations for the actual players. And also Adam Silver announced to the fans that the NBA would be back later in the year to do the ring ceremony all over again when they can have a crowd in the building. So I think they did the best that they could last night. The rings themselves are beautiful and huge. You wouldn't expect anything less, but they'll get a do-over.
All right, and it was a weird night, not only because Paul George put up 33 points, but you spoke to Kawhi Leonard, right, after the Clippers' opening night win. It's only one game, but what did he say about the team's chemistry?
Kawhi was actually pretty effusive. Now, as effusive as Kawhi gets, he wasn't jumping up and down or anything, but he was super positive about the way the Clippers communicated with each other. They had a double-digit lead. The Lakers chopped that down to just a 2-point lead, and he said that the Clippers never panicked. There was great communication on the floor between the players, that they really worked together to regain more of a chunky lead in the game and eventually the win. And he said, frankly, he was more excited about all of that than he was about any particular shots anyone made. We know that the Clippers had issues with all of that last season. We'll have to see if this new kumbaya togetherness can continue throughout the rest of the month here.
Listen, it could be kumbaya togetherness. It can be a triangle offense from Ty Lue.
Whatever works.
It worked. It certainly worked for Kevin Durant as well. That era in Brooklyn off to a strong start. The Nets crushed the Warriors. What are people around the league saying about Durant's debut?
Well, it was interesting. Even before the game, just from looking at preseason, Steve Kerr said that Kevin looked just as good in Brooklyn than he had at any point when he was in Golden State. And certainly after the game, Steve was saying the same thing. In fact, he joked it was only fair that a Durant-led team that had at least another big star on it came out and crushed the Warriors, since the Warriors had done that to so many other teams the past 5 or 6 years. Now, it will be interesting with the Nets to see what happens when they face a team that has more of its offensive weapons at its disposal. Of course, we know with the Warriors, no Klay for the entire season and no Draymond last night. With the Nets, we know they're going to be phenomenal offensively. They have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. What we don't know yet is how good they're going to be defensively, but at least last night was damn impressive, and we'll see how they go from here.
You'll take 120-plus points a night if you're a Nets fan. Meanwhile, this story with James Harden and the Rockets. Here's the update here. Rockets are working with the league office to review video of James Harden at a club. Harden denies that he was at a strip club, does confirm he was at an event that likely violated COVID-19 protocols, because you're not allowed to be at bars. You're not allowed to be at clubs, groups of 15 or more, right? So it puts his status for tonight in jeopardy. What are you hearing, Rachel?
Yeah, he made a post on Instagram sort of saying, hey, everybody's doubting me. The truth is the real is going to come out. I wasn't even at a strip club. That's kind of missing the point. The rules about the NBA, as you note, aren't about strip clubs per se. They're about gathering indoors with groups of people without a mask. Now, as our reporters Tim McMahon, Adrian Wojnarowski have said throughout the morning, James Harden, according to sources, did have coronavirus earlier this summer. We knew he was late for the bubble. He didn't publicly talk about why, but that is why. And I don't know if he feels like, hey, I've already had it. He thinks maybe he's immune in some way. These rules shouldn't apply to him. But the NBA does not consider having had a positive test in the last 6 months a reason that you can just go run around and do whatever you want, for a few reasons. First of all, we don't know, not just in the NBA, but in general, in the world, we don't know how immunity from this virus works. We don't know if it lasts for a few months that you have antibodies, 6 months, a year, nothing. There have been a few cases of reinfection, and we don't know what causes them or not. So the NBA is saying, hey, everyone's just got to follow the rules. Until the entire league is vaccinated, until the country is vaccinated, you have to follow the rules, and these are the rules, and that is what they are looking about with James.
All right, it's not the only Rockets note today. We should also tell you that Woj reports both John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins have tested negative, but their status still unknown for tonight. There's much more of that. Much more Rachel coming up on The Jump, top of the hour. Listen to this cast, okay? Vince Carter, Kendrick Perkins, Jason Tatum, and Tim Hardaway Sr. That's like an NBA Mad Libs. Rachel,
we got a crew. Come hang out with us.
Rachel
and
Nichols.
we're on early. We're on right after your show.
There we go. She said it. Just watch. Thanks, Rachel.
Like, we thought we were a crew. Man, did we have it wrong. It's that time of year again. It's not just Christmas time. Playoff clinching season in the NFL. The 2 longest active playoff droughts are on the verge of ending. The Buccaneers haven't been to the postseason since back in 2007, but Tom Brady and company can change that all this weekend. Tampa